Velkommen til Samtaler om fremtiden. Vi er i dag i Dansk Design Center i midten af København. Med mig i dag har jeg Cass. Now I'm going to switch to English.
Tak.
Tak. You speak Danish.
A great deal. I say tak, and then that's about it.
That's very cool. So Cass, can you please introduce yourself and tell a little bit about what you do?
Well, my name is Cass Sunstein. I teach law at Harvard University. I also work some on economics. I work some on technology. I was privileged to work in our government as the kind of overseer of government regulation, including some role with issues involving social media and open government and transparency. I also served on our Defense Innovation Board for our Defense Department, which is about technological innovation, and I served on our Privacy and National Security group that followed the Edward Snowden disclosures, where we were trying to strike the right balance between privacy and safety for our country.
Wow. So Cass, what do you think are the great challenges and opportunities for us as a society and humans when we look at these new technologies, the new physical technologies as AI, social media, AL, artificial life, big data, and so forth?
Well, maybe we could start with the opportunities. So one thing that I think is great is with machine learning and algorithms, we will be able to solve problems of prediction much better than we ever could before. So if the question is what is going to happen with the course of an illness and what's the best way to treat it, algorithms can outperform individual doctors or even groups of doctors. So if someone has an issue, let's say with lungs and breathing, algorithms can incorporate data from a lot of people who've had issues with lungs and breathing and can tell what the likely course is and what the best solution is. So I think we're going to do great in terms of public health. For issues that involve environmental quality, climate change, energy, air pollution, clean water, with the help of machine learning and artificial technologies, we're both going to have a sense of what are the likely magnitudes of the problems and what are the costs and benefits of solutions. So that's fantastic. So algorithms aren't exactly the most exciting idea as a concept. I think they turn people off a little bit, but for so many of the things that can make life good or not so good, we're going to make tremendous progress. In terms of challenges, one thing I think that's worth worrying about is the uses of social media and personalization to imprison people really in echo chambers. Either they can be designing themselves a little world where all they hear is the European Union is terrible.
So they're like in a bubble.
In a bubble.
Right.
And before the current age of social media and technological opportunities, which is great, you would be exposed to a lot of stuff. There'd be a lot of serendipity. Here, an algorithm can create a little Christina world where everything you hear is connected with you. And that can be enjoyable and comforting. It can be a little cocoon. But if each of us is in our own cocoon, then our capacity to learn from each other and to expand our horizons might be limited, not because the technology itself is limited. You can use it, social media and the new capacity to find out in an instant anything about anything really. You can use that to expand your horizons, but many people aren't using it that way, and many technology providers, let's say platforms, are appealing naturally to what people want, and that can be really the appearance of freedom.
So it seems like it's like a gorging on can you say bad information or bad stuff or the same stuff? Like we coined a term here in another show where we talked about informational obesity in a way, where you gorge on the same things.
Great.
Yeah. So is there a solution to this?
I think so. So I love the term informational obesity. And it captures both that you're kind of getting a little gross.
It is gross sometimes.
And also that you're appealing to your own existing tastes. And suppose you love brownies, as I do. It's good to try things that aren't brownies, because you might like those things and learn that that's good too, and it's different. And
maybe not so healthy to only eat brownies.
Completely. So solutions.
Guidelines, solutions.
What technology can harm us with, technology can also help us with. So there's, I think, a brilliant movie called Her, a Spike Jonze movie.
Amazing movie.
In which the operating system named Samantha.
Scarlett Johansson.
Who's great. Named Samantha in the movie. She could kind of become the perfect lover because she knew exactly what the guy wanted, and could kind of optimize for him. Which is great, and he falls in love with her even though she's just an operating system. But the theme of the movie is that actually meeting a person who is going to surprise you and maybe change you is even better than someone who just kind of fits you like a glove. And that's interesting. And technology can be a little like a provider of variety and serendipity. But technology can provide you with a mix of things which is different from the mix that you yourself would have chosen. So there's an app I know of called Read Across the Aisle. I'm not sure how international it's gone, but it gives you a lot of news sources, and you try, let's say, one set of news sources, and it will tell you if you're reading things that are all like-minded. And it'll start looking a certain color, which suggests you're creating an echo chamber here, and it's a little nudge, so to speak, that you might want to try something.
So Across the Aisle is an app where if you download it to your phone, it will tell you if you're spending too much time on, let's say, Facebook, looking at the same stuff. It will show you a color, or Instagram, or Twitter, or whatnot, Snapchat. Interesting.
The principle is great, where you can monitor your own the breadth or narrowness of your own reading habits. And I'd love the idea, and it could be for culture. All of us, I think, have at one point or another read something or seen something. It might be a movie, it might be a painting, it might be a novel, it might be a story about something that happened, in Norway or Sweden or France. And the fact that we saw the movie, it could be a thriller that involves police or crime, or it could be a book that involves love and hope. And when one of those things, not only could it be enjoyable, it could affect our tastes and even our lives. So we could, because we saw that thing, it could be a podcast, developed a new interest and become kind of broader and somewhat different people. And a good culture has a lot of that. So people end up in their careers, in their personal life, in their reading habits, bigger than they would have been if they'd just been algorithmed into something very specific.
The same old. Do you have to go in and change the law to make sure that the algorithms are used correctly, or how do you govern this? It seems like it's not very many people that know how to deal with this, because the internet it's democracy, it's free, but then again it's not.
My hope is that most of the progress will come from private ingenuity, both from consumers and users demanding things that will the words, we don't want them to be too sentimental, but the word enrich is a terrible word, but let's use it, that will enrich their lives rather than not impoverish their lives. And if consumers are demanding it, then providers will be more likely to provide it. And also from entrepreneurs and providers in the private sector who can use both their kind of human desire to do something good and their technological know-how to offer things to people from which they'll say, oh my God, that's fantastic. So first and foremost, in free societies, you want it to be private ingenuity and spark. I think government's role, at first glance, in a free society, it should be cautious and modest, that you don't want to mandate technological whatever, but you can use subsidies to promote the arts, to promote cultural excellence and diversity, and that's probably a good expenditure of resources.
If you should, like, in one sentence or in one paragraph, say what should we do? Like, what should we do to support these institutions or transform them? What would you do if you could, like, wave your magic wand?
Well, the one sentence I would say is something like, cherish an architecture of serendipity. That would be the sentence.
Beautiful.
And the idea would be that, just being in Copenhagen as I am for a short period, you can see as you walk the street, you'll pass a library or a museum or water or something that will just amaze you and focus you. And in a great city, there's serendipity everywhere, and the technology can either provide you with lots of surprises, or it can provide you instead, when this is the paragraph now, you're not the sentence, an architecture of control, where you can control the environment with which you live virtually or physically, and as well as cherishing an architecture of serendipity, be wary of an architecture of control.
Right, okay, there's the two poles. All right, well, thank you so much, Kaz. I think we covered a lot in a short time. I'm very excited and excited to have you in Copenhagen.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to switch to Danish for 1 minute.
Tak.
Så tusind tak, fordi I ville se med I dag i samtaler om fremtiden. Kaz, you're staying here for a few days and then you're going back to Boston again. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.